It can get confusing when there are so many food terms like organic, GMO, hormone-free, and local. Can you explain what they mean?
I can certainly give it a try. It's important to note that these types of food labels are describing the how of food and not necessarily the health of the food. So to learn more about the nutrients and the minerals and vitamins that we can find in our food, it's important to flip the package over and take a look at that nutrition label. But more on the front of the package, these labels are telling us how food was raised. So, for example, organic foods. If you see that USDA certified organic logo, that means that that food has come from a farm that follows the guidelines set forth by the U.S. Department of Agriculture that kind of mandates what types of seeds can be used, what types of pesticides and fertilizers can be used, and different things like that, and that gives it that label. Other labels like local certainly is just talking about the where of the food, which it is important to support our local businesses, including our local farmers and ranchers, but also important to note that 95% of the United States farms and ranches are family-owned and operated. And so really when we are picking up a box of cornflakes or a pound of ground beef at the meat counter or an apple even, more than likely there is a farm family, regardless of where they are from, a farm family is behind that food that we're buying at the grocery store.
And what is the difference between organic and non-organic? And is it really important to me?
Well, and again, the difference between those two really is how that food was raised. So again, organic farms following along with those guidelines set forth by the USDA. I was just comparing just the other day in the grocery store 2 bags of baby carrots. They come from the same company, but one bag was labeled as organic baby carrots and the other bag was not. And so I flipped them over because I wanted to see if there was a difference. And there was no difference in the nutritional values of those carrots. And so again, just checking if health and nutrition is what you are concerned with, then looking at the nutritional label is probably the most important thing to do. Organic produce and organic foods usually cost more, and that is because it is a little more labor intensive and some of the inputs cost the farmer more. And so that cost is passed on, but know that you are getting quality food regardless if it is organic or inorganic.
As a mom and a farmer, what tips would you share to help families become more informed about the food they buy?
Certainly getting to know your farmer and rancher, and that may seem a little daunting, but shopping at farmers markets is a great place to start because you're probably going to have a face-to-face meeting with the person that raised that food that you're purchasing, but also seeking out farmers and ranchers on social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest. They're there in record numbers, opening up farm gates to tell their farm story and invite questions from other people. Also checking out the website fooddialogues.com, and Food Dialogues is the website of the U.S. Farmers and Ranchers Alliance, the group I'm working with today. And on that website, it talks a lot about the food labels we're talking about here, along with other hot topics in food and farming, and really breaks it down in kind of simple wording. There's not a lot of scientific mumbo-jumbo in there, so it's easy to understand.
Are GMO foods a healthy option?
Well, genetically modified ingredients is usually where we find that in our foods. So most often they are found in processed foods in the forms of sugars, starches, and oils. A genetically modified food isn't necessarily healthier than a food that is not. Genetically modified organisms, GMOs, essentially are created when we take the protein of one plant and we put them into another plant in order to give, say, for example, the corn plant a boost in its immune system to fight off diseases and insects. It doesn't necessarily make that corn plant healthier in terms of the nutritional value of it, but for us on the farm, we see the benefits because we have reduced the amount of inputs or pesticides and fertilizers that we've needed to use in order to grow that plant. And then there's several other things that we've been able to do that increases our efficiency and sustainability here on the farm. it's important to note that even, those ingredients that are derived from genetically modified plants, all of that has gone through a rigorous amount of testing, research, and regulation. They say it takes 15 years in order for a genetically modified seed, to come to market. And there are several studies that have been done, and no scientific data really supports the claim that consuming genetically modified food ingredients attribute to any sort of health issues in humans. So, and of course I can say that, and then someone else can show you studies saying the other as well, but that's the information that we have out there.
And speaking of information, where can people get more information?
Again, I would suggest starting at Food Dialogues. That's dialogues with an S.com. And again, they have a tab on there called Food Source. Click on that, and you can select the topic that you're researching, whether it be organic foods, antibiotics in foods, hormones, and all these different terms that we've discussed today. It's all right there on their website.
Excellent information. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you.